love a good hot hatchback here at Auto Express, and these four are just about the best in the business right now. But which is quickest around our favourite Welsh circuit at Landau? The mad little four-wheel drive rally stage renegade that is the new 257 bhp Toyota Yaris GR, the new 8th generation Golf GTI, tested here with a DSG gearbox and 242 bhp, or Ford's excellent Fiesta ST Edition, or the revised new version of Honda's already brilliant Civic Type R. Well, the Honda is the most powerful with 316 bhp and is the most expensive at 35 grand. But the 33 grand Yaris is the smallest and weighs 140 kilograms less than the Civic, while the 32 grand Golf has some trick new electronics up its sleeve to help it go faster. As for the Fiesta, it's the lightest hot hatch here at just 1,262 kilos, and it's a touch more sophisticated technically in Edition trim. But its 3-cylinder 1.5 turbo engine has no more power than before, and it's still the cheapest by far, even at 27 grand. So Fiesta first, let's see which is quickest in the damp but typically UK conditions we found at Landau.
I do love the Fiesta ST. It's just right. It's compact. It's not too heavy. It hasn't got a crazy amount of power, but then it hasn't got a crazy amount of engine. I mean, it's only a 1.5 three-cylinder turbo, and as you can see, it's still a bit greasy. But it is the bargain of the group. But at 27 grand for this Edition version, which has more trick tyres, slightly lighter brakes, and various other bits and bobs, including this lovely blue Ford racing paint job, you know, the price has gone up. It used to be 22, 23 grand in kind of standard, regular base trim, the Fiesta ST. This is 27 grand. That's a lot of money for a Fiesta. Nicely balanced, agile, cheeky, and you can muck about with it. So how quick is it in these slightly greasy conditions? It starts a lap now. As with all these hatches, it stops very well indeed. I could just feel it lifting an inside wheel there slightly. You've got to be a little bit calm on the throttle, because there is decent amounts of torque from this engine. Although it's not very big, it's quite heavily turbocharged, so the torque is there, the balance is there as well. I do like the steering in the Fiesta ST. It's just honest. You know exactly where the front end is in this car, which is really important when trying to get a lap time out of it. Just a bit greasy out that bottom corner, and the lap time ends there. Yeah, it's still proper fast, the Fiesta ST, relative to these more expensive, you know, theoretically much more sophisticated cars, but it can't quite live with the Civic and the Yaris.
The ST Edition did a 48.5 in the end, which was 1.2 seconds slower than we timed the regular ST at in perfect conditions a year or so ago. But given the conditions on the day, that was a pretty useful time, one that the more powerful but far heavier new Golf GTI might just struggle to match.
It does feel really rather sensible compared with the other three cars here, does the new Golf GTI. There's not a lot different underneath the skin. between this and the previous car, but you get the e-diff as standard this time, and there is the option of a really quite trick adaptive damping system. And you can sort of adjust it on a scroll through 15 odd different settings. Unfortunately, that is not attached to this car, so all you can do is kind of select Sport, and away you go. This one's got the DSG, as you can see. I'm not doing any of this. It does feel quite heavy and soft, which is what it is. It's not a, you know, it's not really operating in the same league as the Yaris and the Fiesta. Definitely not as the Civic. Anyway, let's see how quick it is, starting now. I just simply need more space to slow down in for this chicane. And then when you want it to change direction, you just need to give it a little bit more time to enable it to do so, and then it understeers. But it's got good GR F1s on it, but they're not quite at the same level as the Pilot Sport 4s that are on the Yaris and the Fiesta. All the Bridgestones of the Honda, but forget the tyres, it's got not a lot to do with the tyres, it's just literally about the fact that this thing feels, well, it just feels kind of heavy and clumsy in this company. Lovely road car, not great track car, and the lap time there stops. Yeah, and the lap time shows it.
To be fair, the new GTI wasn't in quite the right spec to take on the other three far more focused hot hatches at Landau, and it posted the slowest lap time of the four at 48.8 seconds. It felt totally safe while doing so, and it felt secure, yes, but it also felt heavy and just a wee bit cumbersome beside the others. So that just left it to the two hot favourites to go head to head. Civic first. Here's what happened.
Right, the new Civic Type R, there's not a massive amount that's new about it, but they've just tweaked it in a few key areas. The gear lever itself is different. That's probably the smallest change, actually. There are various bits and bobs they've done underneath to the suspension to make it a little bit more refined, a little bit stiffer at the same time, which is a little bit difficult to get your head around, really, but amazingly they have managed to do both of those things. The engine has still got the same 316 horsepower, 400 newton meters of torque. It weighs just over 1,400 kilograms. It hasn't got trick tyres, but it's just got good tyres. It is a little bit greasy today. It's cold, you know. I mean, we're filming this in the depths of December, so it ain't ever going to go anywhere near as quick as the previous generation car did on a beautiful warm day in, I think it was July, a while ago. It was definitely warm and hot and nice, and therefore grippier. I don't like the sound of this new Civic. They're kind of beaming a sound into the cabin this time, and it sounds a bit anodyne. It's got a bit of a drone to it, unfortunately. But the Civic Type R is not all about sound. It's about going seriously quickly around a track. How quick? I'm going to find out. Start finding out now, because our lap starts now. So good under brakes, the Civic. Massive traction and turning from the front end. It's just everything this thing does dynamically is brilliant at, and it's also mega quick in a straight line. Sugar me. Rides the curbs really well. Big grip, even though it's a little bit well, not quite perfect. I'm just having to come out the throttle there. That's the lap time there. Wow. It's not as quick as it was in the bone dry, super warm conditions, but it's still flaming fast.
Considering the conditions, the revised Type R's lap time of 47.1 seconds was pretty outrageous, even though it was 1.3 seconds slower than we recorded on the previous car in perfect conditions. But then the latest Civic Type R is a pretty outrageous car, and the Yaris would need to pull a very big rabbit out of the hat if it was going to beat it, even if the slippery conditions should have suited it more.
You only need to look at the Yaris GR and you start to smile. When you start driving it, it's even more of a giggle. Little 3-cylinder turbo engine that produces quite a lot of power actually, 257 horsepower. Plenty of torque and not much weight. That's the Yaris's key, obviously along with its four-wheel drive system. This is the track-back version with the Michelin tyres and better diffs front and rear. You change this dial here where you can put it into a more aggressive diff setting basically, and the split is 50-50. It just allows you to adjust the line, adjust the handling, balance on the move. So let's see how quick it is starting now. It stops really well. I think it actually, if anything, stops even better than the Civic, but then you'd expect that because it weighs 150 kilograms or so less than the Civic. That's a significant difference. And it's got good traction. You can just chuck it about. I've got the IMT engaged, which is the intelligent manual transmission, which gives you an auto blip on the downshifts. This thing's a riot. It's quick as well. Oh, I think it's going to be quite close to the Civic, is it? That's very interesting. The Yaris gets on in these conditions, if anything, even better than the Civic because it's just so adjustable.
So there you go. The Yaris couldn't quite dethrone the Type R in the end, despite being dead good fun to drive. In the end, its lap time of 47.9 seconds was well shy of the Honda's 47.1, which just goes to prove what a sensational hot hatch the Type R has become. It wins no matter what the conditions, and so even at 35 grand, it still feels like a bit of a bargain. The latest Type R truly is that good. Click on the video windows to watch more track tests on the Megane RS, the previous gen Type R and the Hyundai i30N, or on the Fiesta ST versus the Megane RS. Click on the play icon to watch our latest video, or on our logo to subscribe.